Yo, what's happening? This is your host Tinto, and before we get started on this week's episode, I'd like to give a shout out to everybody that got me coffees. Starting with you, Tatenda. Thank you for your coffee, and your comment reads, "My sister and I have been listening to your podcast since 2023, and because we were on it every other minute, we have fully caught up. Thank you for allowing God to use you and your laugh. Surely through these lessons, we are not tolerating or settling over here." Yes, girls, come on, do it. Then I got someone anonymous who got me a coffee. Thank you so much. You left no comment, and so did Chi-Chi. Thank you very much for your coffee, and you left no comment as well. The next up, I've got Taku Villain. Thank you. Oh my God, 10 solid coffees. Yes. Hello, 2025. And your comment there reads, "We have been truly blessed with the recent run of episodes. Amen. You're welcome." And then last but not least for this week, another 5 generous coffees from Ruth's Super Kitchen. Thank you very much. And your comment there reads, "Enjoy your coffee while you keep educating and entertaining us. The Feeling Station is the best podcast ever. You're doing an amazing job." Man, thank you so much. If you'd like to support the podcast in a similar way, please head over to www.buymeacoffee.com/feeling station and give as your spirit leads. Remember, there's nothing too small to support the podcast you've grown to love. And if you'd like to share your story, please hit me up through the DMs on Instagram. Just search for The Feeling Station. It comes up in black and yellow. Or if we're connected on X, feel free to DM me as well, and we can arrange this. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get straight into this week's episode. Man, yeah, I think you're gonna enjoy this one.
Is that a breakup? I think we have a situation right here on the Feeling Station.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hi.
For a second there, I thought you weren't gonna pick up.
Why?
It was ringing forever.
No, it just rang twice.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. My bad on this end. Well, welcome to the Feeling Station.
Oh, thank you so much.
For those listening to this podcast for the first time, it's a romantic family and friendship breaker podcast showcasing stories that people would like to talk about with a view to give you lessons from their experiences. Now, I hope you find today's story entertaining, but more importantly, meaningful. And as you know already, the podcast is popular for 2 main reasons. The first being I do my best to keep my guests anonymous, which brings me to the fun part. Are you ready, my friend?
I am ready.
Right. So I'm going to give you a name that you're going to use for the duration of the episode from Botswana. And your name is Neo, N-E-O. Really simple.
N-E-O, Neo.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what that means is gift.
Gift, wow.
Yeah, nice and simple, right?
Yeah.
And what are you calling the name of the person you're talking about today?
Okay, so I'm going to call the person Legio.
Legio, L-E-G-I-O?
Legio, yeah.
Yep. And what does that mean? Why Legio?
Okay, so Legio is short for Legion.
Uh-oh.
This is a name that my friend gave this person.
I see where this might be going. Right?
Because of the dramas that started happening. And my friend said, "Neo, are you sure this person is not possessed?" Because, there's a scripture in the Bible where the man was tormented with demons.
Yep.
And then they were saying, "Oh, when you cast them out, can they go into the pigs?"
Mm-hmm.
So in the end, the demons went into the pigs. So we are now saying, my friend is saying, possibly when he lays hands on people, the demons have got nowhere to go. So all the demons are going on to him.
Wow.
Yeah. So instead of now us calling him Legion, we started calling him Legio. And then we wanted to be more respectful, saying Fundis Legio.
Brilliant story. Okay, so you're calling him Legio. In Shona, we call him Region. You know,
Region.
If someone says with Region, you know, you got some stuff going on with you.
Okay, that's it. Yeah.
Right. So the story is about Neo and Legio, Legio. Yeah,
Legio.
Legio.
Yeah.
And the second reason why the podcast is doing really well is there are real life lessons people learn from the story that you're about to share. So, what would you like anybody listening to your episode to walk away with today?
Okay, so I've come up with 6 lessons. Bear
Yay!
with me.
Hmm. A legion of lessons, yeah?
Yes, you've got a legion of lessons.
Mm-hmm.
So, lesson number 1 is that you owe yourself an apology for fighting battles that were not yours to fight.
Okay, number 2.
If you give in to pressure, the same pressure will kill you. Don't break
Yay!
your rules to please anyone.
Yay! Hey, okay, nice. Got a third one?
Lessons from your past are your life jackets during the storms of life. Guard them jealously.
Yay! I probably didn't get that well because I was enjoying it so much. I'll paraphrase later. Yeah, number 4.
Your scars are your beauty marks. Wear them with pride.
Oh, yeah. I like that. Number 5.
Okay, so when the game is over, that is when it's time to leave. Don't go into extra time to penalties. You are not trying to win the FA Cup. This will just cause more injuries.
Oh man, I'm really enjoying this. They are very well thought out. Okay, number 6.
Use your energy towards things that will grow you, not kill you.
Yeah, lovely. Right now,
Yeah.
they were quite a mouthful. I'm going to try and see if I quote them quick enough. So number 1, you owe yourself an apology for trying to fight fights that were not yours. Number 2, if you give in to pressure, the same pressure will kill you. Don't break your rules to please anyone. Number 3,
Okay.
lessons from your past are your life jacket. Guard them jealously. Number 4, your scars are your beauty marks. Wear them with pride. Number 5, when when the game is over, that is when it's time
Yes.
to leave. Don't go into extra time or penalties. You're not trying to win the FA Cup, and doing
Yes.
this will just cause you more injuries. I really like that.
Yes.
And then,
Yeah.
last but not least, use your
Energy.
Oh yeah, okay. Use your energy towards things that will make you grow and not kill you.
That's perfect.
Oh, thanks. Sorry, I paraphrased some of those, but yeah, I'm sure we got them. I'm intrigued by this. Okay, so Neo, tell me about Legio, and but where did you guys meet, and why did you decide I'm going to give him a chance?
Okay, so I think to do this story a justice,
Yeah.
before I go into how I met Legio, I need to just give you a quick recap on my past.
Okay, go for it.
So as Neo, I've not had great relationships to say, because I had my first child at 20.
Mm-hmm.
This was when I was about to go to uni. The boyfriend is like, "Oh, you're gonna leave me alone, blah, 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 blah. I'm not gonna be happy." But I'm like, I need to go out of the country to study. So later on, I found that I'm at uni. I was pregnant. And when I broke the news to him, he said, "Oh, I knew it anyway, because I kind of deliberately asked for us to have more sex, hoping that if you get pregnant, you will no longer be studying abroad."
Oh.
Yeah. So I was really shocked by that response. But anyway, he's like, "Oh, but you need to go for an abortion." So I said, "I'm not gonna do that." Anyway, I didn't realize that left a big wound on how I viewed relationships, because I was quite young, and then it was very damaging at the same time. But coming from an African culture, I just went on like everything was normal. But there were so many things that were said, even the child being labeled as someone without a father,
Oh.
as if I didn't know the father of the child.
Yeah.
So anyway, one thing led to the other. I got engaged at the age of 28, 1 month before the wedding. This is a different guy now.
I was just about to ask, who did you get engaged to? Oh, so you got engaged to a different guy?
Yeah, this was a different guy now. This was also he was a pastor at a young pastor at the church where my parents used to go to. So we connected during a bereavement, and then anyway we got engaged a year before, and then a year later we planned to get married. And then he calls the wedding off, saying, as a pastor and the whole pastoral team are against him marrying a woman who has a child.
Wow.
This a child outside wedlock.
Wow.
Yes. So again, this left a very big wound, and I'm just like, what's going on? So I was in a church where, like, obviously all guys are other guys are looking at me, but I wore my engagement ring. They knew I'm gonna go home and get married to this pastor who was part of where my parents went to. And then after he said that, I took the ring off. And then there was like this excitement, like, oh, she's no longer going home to get married. So guys were coming left, right, and center.
Mm.
And then I met this guy who I knew in the church, but I guess it was, honestly, looking back, I'm like, this was frustration because it was a relationship that started out of the rebound. It was a few months after this guy had called off the wedding.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting married, then we divorced. And then,
But why did you get divorced?
anyway, sorry?
But why did you get divorced?
Oh, I went through a lot of it was a very bad marriage, like domestic abuse, all sorts of abuse, which is another episode altogether. But it was a very, very terrible marriage. But and ended up having two children and the reason why we got married as well is because I got pregnant before the marriage. So the church said, you cannot continue like this. You need to get married and raise the child together, which was another mistake. On my part, I was like, oh, I can't. Remember, I've got another child, and then I can't be in this. I'm also having a second child with a different man, and then again, we should, So I just went ahead with it, but I knew it was a bomb waiting to explode.
Oh my God! And how old were you at this point?
At this point, I was 30. 30, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So again, the biological clock is ticking. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just settle for this.
Mm.
So anyway, I went through divorce, which was a very bad thing. As I was going through divorce, I was going through bereavement. I lost my brother in a very bad way.
Oh dear.
So imagine dealing with both issues like the divorce. But strangely, I was more focused on the bereavement, not the divorce. Because I always say, before you actually say that I'm finally divorcing, you've already left, emotionally already out.
Right.
Yeah. So 3 years after the divorce, there's like, oh, obviously my friends are like, you're being too harsh on yourself. You need to be going at least on a date. I mean, on dates. You need to be going on dates with others and just mingle with others. So I went on this crazy whatever for about 4 to 6 months, where if I meet someone, it doesn't matter where I met them. They're like, oh, you look nice. Or what's your name? Let's exchange numbers. Let's go on a date. I would go for it, which was not like me before. I would never do anything like that. But because of my experiences, I became this, let me call it like a no-nonsense Neo. So if a guy is taking me out, I'll be like, so I hope you've remembered your wallet, because I'm not going to pay. I'm not going to be doing half business that you people do in the UK. So the guys, some of them would find that intimidating. Some would be like, oh, no, don't worry about it. But to be fair, after doing a few of those dates, I found that it was not helping because it was sucking my energy. So I felt power.
In terms of what?
What's that?
It was sucking your energy in terms of you interacting with people, the conversations, going out.
Yes, the conversation, because it's like, now obviously you're on a date, you're going to get to know people, you start explaining yourself over and over, and then you're also being mindful what to share or what not to share.
Right.
I was not being real. This was not me, as I'm saying. The sort of person I am. I knew, like, when you're going on a date where okay, this is going to lead to something else, it's different. But this time it was just like me trying to check something, like, am I this tough? Am I still okay? Because I kind of became like an anti-relationship person.
Okay. So you wanted to test whether you still had the softer side of you in there.
That's it.
Okay. Oof.
Yeah.
Jeez,
that's
yeah.
it. So But at the same time, it also taught me that, okay, yeah, you're standing on your ground and you're able to let go than hanging on something, than hanging on a rope, let me put it that way,
Mm.
or holding on to the relationship for a wrong reason.
Mm.
So at that point, I realized that I needed to heal.
Mm.
Hence my first lesson of saying, like, you owe yourself an apology.
Yeah.
I've got a daughter, so part of that decision as well was realizing that I'm raising a girl. This is a powerful daughter. I'm not. I'm a role model. So I didn't want to be that type of mother who was introducing different men to my children.
Mm.
So though I went on these dates where I would meet another, my children never met any of those guys
Mm-hmm. And
because
so from your marriages, did you say you had 1 or 2 children?
from my marriage I had 2
Yeah,
children.
2. And how long were you married for? I must have missed that detail. 2 years?
No, I was married for 8 years.
Okay, that's some detail we missed, because I remember just asking how old you were at the time. So I think I probably asked how old you were when you got married, but then and I think you said 30.
Yeah,
But I didn't get the context of how long you were married for. So you were married for
I
eight
was
years, and the 8 years you had 2 children. So now you've got 3 children.
so now I've
Okay.
got 3 children.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So so as I was saying, like I didn't want to. I wanted to be that good mother. I wanted to be a role model, especially to a girl child, to my daughter.
Mm.
I didn't want to be that mother who's introducing different men or whatsoever. So I never brought any men closer to my children.
But were the other 2 boys?
So the first one is a boy, the
Uh-huh.
second one is a boy, and then the last one is a girl.
Cool. Got it.
Yeah. So at this point, I became more focused on the woman I was becoming
Mm.
than the one I was letting go of. I chose me. I kind of became selfish that I didn't even have time for all these dates anymore. No matter what anyone said,
Mm.
I
Mm.
just felt like I had zero social life.
Mm.
So this is the point now I had to apologize to me. I had to forgive me for the times I found myself apologizing for being true to myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, Neo, forgive yourself for lowering your standards and giving into pressure because society says otherwise.
That's a really powerful thing to be able to do.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. So yeah, in that process, like I was learning to forgive myself for fighting battles, which is also one of my lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Fighting battles that were not mine, allowing people, especially men, to bleed on me when I'm not the one who cut them.
Mm-hmm.
I had to forgive myself for all the times I felt to love Neo, thinking love will only come from a man. So this was a fresh start, the best gift I gave myself. So I
Mm.
started living that life without apologizing to anyone. I was able to go for a movie, enjoy a movie alone, book a table for one, and
Mm.
even go on holiday alone. I was able to do all that.
Mm.
And what I also found empowering by doing that is like I didn't owe anyone an explanation because I allowed people to believe whatever they wanted to believe.
Mm-hmm.
I even told my friends that please stop asking me when I'm getting married again or arranging blind dates for me. If I ever find someone, you'll get an invite to the wedding. But I just realized that I don't need to be broken because I'm worth of that value and respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now let's go to Legio.
Yeah.
Legio, we grew up together. Our moms were best friends. So
Mm-hmm.
growing up, we lived in the same area. We spent most of our weekends together, birthdays, everything was just like, how like best friends are supposed to be.
Yeah.
So um, Legio he got hold of me on Facebook. This
Mm-hmm.
is now after like all these things I've told you about where I was just doing me, working on me and just, focusing on me and children obviously and my business. It was around 4 years now. After 4 years or so,
Yeah.
Legio got hold of me on Facebook. He's like, oh, hey, how are you? Long time. Do you remember me? I'm like, obviously, how can I forget you?
Mm.
So we started talking straight away. Like, he asked for my number. Felt like just true friendship, like those sort of conversation where you just kick off, like where you started,
Yeah.
you stopped the day before.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I just found that, one of the things I enjoyed after working on me and being a mature person, there's no filter. You just keep it real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So one of the things he said to me straight away when he asked for my number, when he called, is like, he said, "Oh, how God told him he will marry someone from his childhood."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So me being me, I'm like, "Hey, my brother, did God mention my name?"
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, "Oh, even two other men of God also said it." I was like, anyway, to be honest, God has not told me anything.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's carry on.
Mm.
So this guy was interested in every aspect of my life. He was just like, it was just beautiful. Like, we're just talking about anything and everything, the family, what has gone on in his family, in my family, you know. But Tinto, the way he was asking about my life, you'd think this guy was going to write exams about Neo.
Mm.
And you would think he was determined to get a distinction out of it.
Yay.
I shared all those things with pride, not with shame or or not even as a victim. Because remember, my scars are my beauty marks.
Yeah. And
So I decided to own my story. I didn't even carry shame in whatever had happened. So although he was too inquisitive, he's like, tell me this, tell me that. I was just explaining because we are friends catching up. We are getting to know each other again
right.
after
Yeah.
so many years.
Mm-hmm.
So everything was sweet for a moment. Everything felt right. It felt right. I felt like a teenager falling in love for the first time.
Mm.
Mind you, this is now me in my late 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he promised me, oh, I'm really sorry you've gone through all this. There's no walking away from this. He would even be apologizing, like, oh, I'm so sorry you've gone through what you've gone through.
Mm.
This guy would wake me up, he would pray for me, he would pray with me. It was just simply amazing.
What was his situation? Was he married? Was he single, divorced?
Okay, so Legio also shared how he's on separation and about to divorce.
Oh, he was on separation to divorce.
Yeah, on separation and to divorce. So I didn't struggle with this sort of information. Remember, his mom and my mom are best friends.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever was happening at home, we were aware of it. My mom was aware of it. So, mom and daughter gossip. He would be sharing, like, oh, this happened, this happened.
Mm-hmm.
But at this time, me and Legio were not in contact.
So you probably would have heard the same about you then if your mums, were having mummy chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it kind of felt like maybe trying to compare notes, like what I was trying to tell. Yes, what I was trying to tell him, is it matching with what the moms had said? Because
Right.
moms were comparing notes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah. So actually, I remember when we started talking, and then he's asking this question. Said, "Yeah, I've divorced." He was like, it was like a sigh of relief.
Mm-hmm.
That, oh yeah, I'm glad you've beat me to it. So I'm like, what do you mean I've beat you to it? So, oh, because I've been struggling, I've been trying to, but because of my role as a pastor, it's becoming so hard. Da 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 da. I'm like, okay.
What did he say? Some of those complications. I want to hear what the man of God had to say.
The man of God says, to you as well.
I mean, I'm just
Oh,
wondering,
God.
right? If you've already separated and the church knows that you're separating.
No, the church did not know. The church did not know because, mind you, they are trying to keep an image to avoid a scandal.
Really?
So, yes, there was something that happened, which we later found out that there was DV involved. So, man of God's mother-in-law told the media of how this pastor is abusive to her daughter.
Yo.
Yes.
Okay.
So at this point, I'm like, why are you so worried that, because it's like, at one point, the wife gave the condition of divorce or else it would be dramatic. So it's like, oh, the way this, because he's now referring to what the mother-in-law did. It's like, oh, at this point, we had an argument. Imagine the media was all over with our story. So imagine what will happen now. Or what length will they go to expose me? So I'm like, what are you worried about?
Interesting.
Yeah. And
He's
then
really worried about saving face. I mean, he was involved in domestic violence, but didn't want it
yeah,
to come out to to the
yeah,
light.
he didn't want to come to the light exactly.
That is
So
crazy.
he's even yeah. So he's even asking me like, oh, he's saying, oh, I'm so upset with our moms. I don't even know why they didn't do an arranged marriage for us. I'm like, but in our culture, we don't do those things. There's nothing like an arranged marriage.
Mm,
So then the unusual question started from Mr. Man of God.
mm.
Oh, Neo, who do you talk to? How is the relationship with your ex? How many guys have you dated? I'm like, but you've asked me a whole history of, and I've given you a recap already, like what happened to me from the time I left home, how I had a child out of wedlock, blah, 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 blah. I've explained everything. What else do you want to know?
Mm.
And he's asking, oh, who gives you contracts for your business?
Mm.
Why are you not investing back home?
Mm.
Why is your WhatsApp last seen hidden? You need to put it
Ah,
back on so I
ah,
can see
ah,
when you were
ah,
last
ah, ah,
online.
ah, ah.
Oh God Almighty!
What? Okay.
Yes, yeah. So
Mm.
if Legio is calling me and my phone rings more than twice, trouble. Who are you talking to? Why are you taking so long to call? I mean to pick up the call.
Neil, at this stage, are you guys even dating yet? Or this is still the talking stage?
So at this point, it's the talking stage. But remember, he's made his intentions known to say
Yo,
there's no walking away.
yo, yo,
There's
yo.
no walking away, but I'm not really getting excited because I'm like, look, I know if you are scared about your divorce, anything can happen. So I don't want to be like, oh my God, or I don't want to be anybody's second wife. Should you decide now, I'm not going to divorce, but I'm just going to have you.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but
There's a lot happening
then
early doors in this talking stage already.
honestly,
Mm.
so when we say, things are always whatever we are looking for as whatever we are looking for in a relationship, the answers are right there, but we choose to turn a blind eye.
Mm.
So, but mind you, I'm also excited. I've caught up with my childhood friend, my childhood, whatever he called me, childhood sweetheart.
Mm-hmm.
It's all going like, and
Mm.
then he started saying like he wants to make video calls. I said, my friend, I'm from the old school. I hate video calls. So he is,
Oh, now this explains your message to me yesterday.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, you get it now.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
ooh, I,
Just so that people don't remain in the dark. So
yeah,
yesterday's we are preparing to have this phone call. You sent me a text, and
yes,
and you're like, hey, Tinto, I just want to check. I got a quick question about tomorrow. Is it a video call or a voice call? And then I said, it's a voice call. And you said, hallelujah. Thank you.
yes, I did.
And then I found that weird. I was like, why? And then you said, hey, you'll find out tomorrow. Okay, I get it.
Yes,
I get it.
yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it was a relief. You don't know. Even when I was typing back hallelujah, I said, you
Yeah.
find out tomorrow. I even made a
Yeah.
mistake in my message because that's how relieved I was. I was like, oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I get that now.
So, yeah. So at first I thought this video calls is just like, oh, maybe he's seen me. Obviously, he's seen me on Facebook. He's seen me on Instagram. And there's also a fear of what you order versus what you get, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So obviously he wants to see me.
Okay, yeah. Mm.
So he's like, oh, yeah, you're still as beautiful. I was worried because I gave him to the video call actually. He's like, oh, I was so worried because, sometimes you girls, you'll be putting nice pictures on the social media, but then, oh, you even look beautiful. And then this video call started even as early as I'm waking up. I'm still in bed. I'm like, come on, some of us don't sleep with clothes on, yeah?
Eh.
So now it's like, oh my God, the video calls were just so annoying, And anyway, he was also sharing a lot from his past, but I never dwelt on that.
Mm.
So we carried on like this for a couple of months, but it felt like years because we were talking like hours and hours every day. And he would act all concerned, as I said, and promise that he has come to correct every wrong thing that has happened to me. He went
Yeah.
on to say he's feeling guilty that I have been through a lot and he wasn't there for me.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, man of God has not come to play. So anyway, now the drama starts. At this point, I've only told my mom and two of my friends, like, oh, this is what's going on. So we're even finding it funny because my friends are like, that's not you, Neo, to fall in love, you know? But we'll see how this goes. So one day there was a lady who tagged me on Facebook. You know, these people, the random posts that people will just tag you and 99 others.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the lady tagged me and 99 others. You know, one of these famous prophets was talking about how, as a single lady, you should always look for a man who is not ashamed to hold your hand in public or show you to the world. Legio was mad.
Okay. Yes.
So I did not understand why he was so upset. I was like, come on, Legio, I just got tagged. So he started explaining the nonsense that is happening in these circles of men of God. He started revealing the names of prophets who are using other people on Facebook. He said, Neo, this is a trap. These people are trying to trap you. You think this is just a normal tagging? He disclosed how these girls, how the men of God use the girls in church to tag people on Facebook. Then they'll be monitoring your moves, and that is how they bring all these the fake prophecies into your life.
Right.
He went on to talk about how they can make you disown your family, they will brainwash you, and all your money will go to them. That is how these men of God are making their money.
Yeah.
Pay attention to this, Tinto. So I was taking notes. So
you're taking notes because you're into him like that, or what?
I'm into him. I'm into him, but I'm also suspicious.
Okay.
I'm into him. I'm also suspicious. So now I asked him, I said, how do you know all these things? Are you also part of it? Then he got so angry. Oh, why do you always talk like this? You think you're very smart. He started swearing. I said, hey, hold on, man of God, don't swear. I was shocked. So then later on, he was apologizing that, I'm sorry that I shouted. I'm just trying to protect you because you're so naive. You don't know what's happening in all this prophetic, whatever. So anyway, soon after that, I found that my phone was playing up. So I'm not into phones really. When I say I'm from the old school, I'm really from the old school.
Yeah.
I'm one of those that wait until my phone collapses and then I'm like, okay, I need a new phone.
One. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not like, oh, there's a new iPhone, whatever, or a new whatever, I should go and buy. So I kept telling him that, oh, I need to change my phone. So this particular week, I now decided my phone is not even charging properly, So I ordered a new phone. Unfortunately, they told me that the phone will be delivered on Monday. So this was now like a Friday morning. Unfortunately, again, my phone just gave up on me. It couldn't charge, it couldn't do anything. So the whole weekend, I had no phone. So by the time the phone came on Monday, I connected, put a SIM card, I did whatever. I called him. He said, oh, you think you're smart. I know you went to do your prostitution over the weekend. I was like, what are you on about? Legio shouted and he told me, oh, Neo, you think you're smart. You have not done playing. I'll give you time to finish your games. I'll give you time because I love you. As I've said, I've come here to stay. I'm not walking away, but for this time, I just want you to finish your games. So I was wondering, how do you finish something that you've not even started? So that was how he went quiet on me, and I just ignored him because I'm like, if I was guilty, maybe if I had gone to done something, but I'm just a good girl, So again, remember my lesson when I'm like, I'm using my energy towards things that will grow me, not kill me.
Yeah.
So I didn't even fight. I'm like, you know what? Suit yourself. So while he was quiet and all that, and mind you, he had blocked me on Facebook. And then there's a common friend that he doesn't know. Okay, all these people who are just following him on Facebook, but this person is my friend, but can see everything he's posting. So the friend now said to me, oh, sadly, this Legio has lost his mom.
Oh.
So I was like, oh, that's very sad. So I told my mom, and my mom's like, oh, broken. She's lost her best friend and all that stuff. It's like, oh. So anyway, I sent a message. I realized that he unblocked me. I sent a message just to say, oh, sorry to hear about the passing on of mom. And he just said, oh, thank you. You know, it's sad, but that's what has happened. So we didn't talk again for another probably 18 months or so.
18 months, another
So,
18 months.
and another 18 months after the mom's passing.
Wow. And
Yeah.
you know, I really don't want to lose track of your timeline and where you were. What were you guys now? Still in the talking stage?
So yeah, by the time remember, he said he's come to stay. God
Yeah.
told him that he's going to marry someone from his childhood, but this marriage is not going to happen until he goes through his divorce.
Yes.
So we are still talking, we are still getting to know each other, but then there's no walking away. But he walks away to give me time to finish playing games.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Are you getting
Yeah,
it?
no, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. So essentially, you guys weren't really an item. You were just hanging in the balance. I mean, for you were hanging in the balance, waiting for his divorce to go through, without him realize
I'm
that
waiting for his.
he's playing his
Yes,
own. He's playing his own games.
Yeah, he's the one playing games. Mind you, he's telling me I'm leaving you to finish games. I'm in my head. I'm thinking you're the one who has got unfinished business. So remember, I've worked on myself. So I'm telling myself I'm not gonna go into this thing now and go back to where I don't want to be. So when he went quiet, I also went quiet. Even after the mom's passing, I thought maybe he would owe me an explanation to say, oh, but nothing. He just said, oh, yeah, that's sad. Mom's gone, da, 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 da. I feel lost without her. And that was the end of the conversation.
Did you miss him in the silence?
Sorry?
Did you miss him when he was quiet?
At first I did, but then I've also come to remember all these little dramas that were happening. I wasn't comfortable with.
Okay.
So I'm also saying, oh, if it's meant for me, he will come.
Yeah.
Because I was really convinced that he's just trying to blame me. He's the one who has unfinished business. So I'm thinking maybe when he finishes his business, he will come. But I just went on. I even said to my friends, like, stop updating me, whatever is posting on Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't want to know. Because the more I hear his name, I'm like, oh, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I noticed that, he started again liking my pictures. He would not comment much, but he would just like. But if I post something to do with business, he would be like, oh, you're doing a great job. I'm like, oh, so this guy has unblocked me again. So this is after 18 months. And then one day he just called and said, oh, Neo, I went quiet because I was giving you time to sort your mess and stop playing games because I don't like what happened that weekend. You're pretending that your phone was not working.
And this is 18 months later?
18 months later.
So he's been processing this in his mind for 18 months?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So I'm like, my brother, please, I don't want trouble. You are the one who has unfinished business. Are you divorced now? And he says, not yet. So it just happened that, he got in touch when I was about to travel back home, my home country. So I've made it clear that all these things that are happening, he's in my home country, I'm in the UK.
So you still hadn't seen each other in this whole time?
We had not seen each other. Yeah, apart from these nonsense video calls. So, yeah. So I'm like, oh, I'm about to come home. And he was so excited, like, oh, yeah, we can finally see each other because all this talking on the phone is not working for me. So it felt like all was rosy again. Remember, part of me was telling me that if it was meant for me, he will come back.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, now he's come back. But now he's still not divorced after all these months. What's going on? Anyway, I was just paying attention. So a few days before I traveled, like my birthday month, which is also his birthday month. a friend took me out. It's like, oh, let's go for things. Since on your birthday, you will be home. So we went out. I told him, oh, I'm out with my friend. Oh my God, the guy lost it. I know. You're just pretending. Oh, this is your friend taking you out. You're sleeping with her husband.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, how is that? How am I sleeping with her husband? It's just a friend. So am I not supposed to have friends? So oh, and then
This
a day after,
this is giving a lot of controlling vibes.
controlling vibes,
Controlling vibes,
climax,
anger management issues,
everything
difficulty
in one
regulating
package.
emotions, and above all, trust issues.
Yes,
Mm.
yeah. So a day after the meal, this was now his birthday. So I sent a message, oh, happy birthday, sent a prayer, whatever, all the loving, whatever. He ignored me. A day after, it was my birthday, he didn't communicate. Mind you, I've told him I'm coming home in a few days' time.
Yeah.
So I just got home. I chilled. I didn't even tell him what time my flight is, because if I send you a message on your birthday and the day after, you're ignoring me.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know what you're doing. You're not a child. So I got home. I chill. I mean, just seeing my parents, everything. And then one day, a few days later, I was in the kitchen with my mom. So we're just having mom and daughter chats. So his name came up. So I said to my mom that, we got in touch again. This is what happened, but I cannot put up with his anger. So my mom said to me, oh, just call him and tell him you're home. Maybe having a face-to-face meeting will help. I know he's going through a lot. This is my mom. He said, well, I know he's going through a lot after he lost his mom. Just try and catch up. Don't go with the real thing that, oh, you're going to see a man, you're building a relationship. Just go as a friend, someone you've known, you grew up with, and he's lost his mom. You just go in that type of mode. So I texted him. I said, I'm home now. If you're free to meet, we can meet up for lunch. And he was excited. Yeah. So the meeting really was so good. We had just agreed to meet for an hour or so, like just a quick lunch, get to see him. We ended up spending 6 hours together. We just talked endlessly. And, one of the things that really excited me, in one of our conversations, we were talking about I love when a guy is just wearing like a simple white shirt or white t-shirt with denim. That's a big turn on for me.
Oh, is it?
The guy showed up looking all together like that.
Wow. He's a man on a mission.
He's a man on a mission. I was so excited. I was all smiles. I was like, oh yeah, he pays attention. He remembered that this is how I like my guy to look.
So it actually turned you on.
Yes, it did. Tinto, that laugh, eh?
Because I want to hear where this led. But go on.
Oh, God. So, yeah. So, I also need to mention something that I've just remembered. During our chat before I traveled home, you remember there was a question, like when I was talking about all the questions he was asking me, who do you talk to? Who's your business partner? Who do you deal with? And all that. He asked me if I'm investing back home.
Oh, yeah. He did mention,
Yeah. So he kept bringing this conversation in our chat. So he said, oh, he wanted us to do a project together, something with our name on it, Legio and Neo's investments, So I said, hey, I like the idea, but not this time. Why? Why are you saying that? You have not gone through your divorce. And I'm not comfortable to start investing with a man who is still attached to someone. I think that's careless of me. So, in that moment, he acted so cool, but I sensed he was disappointed because this came up later in our arguments. Like, oh, you think everyone is here to steal from you. You don't trust people, blah, 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 what that sort of talk. So anyway, we met and then we were just having conversations. So as we're chatting, again, the beauty of dating as mature people, I've learned now, these are things that I avoided when I was a teenager or in my 20s to ask a guy. But at this point, I didn't come to play. I want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, how is your relationship with God? I'm not talking about you as a man of God. I'm just talking about you as a person. How is your relationship with God? How do you relate with your parents? How is your relationship with your siblings?
Mm-hmm.
And he was not really giving me straight answers. So I sensed something there. I was like, mm-mm, mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
But, he was now like, oh, I even said to him that every time I visit home, for me, it's just time to spend time with my parents because I only manage to go home once a year out of the 12 months. I'm only home one month in a year. So I'm not one of those to be going up and down, visiting friends or whatever. If friends want to come and see me, I say, come and see me at home. So I said to him, you're not a stranger to mom and dad. You come home. If you're coming to pick me up for lunch, they need to know you're the one taking me and where we are going.
Yeah.
So anyway, he came home and the following day, it was so nice. The parents welcomed him. They chatted, like even my dad was teasing, like, oh, prodigal son, where have you been? We are right here, but you never come to see us. It was just like, family, friends, how they are. And he's promising, I'll take care of your parents when you are away. I'll be doing most of the things. Legio was on top of the game, Tinto. He suddenly became the son my parents were missing at home, the brother I was missing who was filling the gaps. He was just a missing piece, And in our conversations, I also mentioned that, these are my don'ts. If you're really serious about building a relationship with me, no matter how angry you are, never raise your voice and never raise your hand on me, no matter what. Because these are lessons from my past, my past, I told him I went through all sorts of abuse and he was aware of it. Remember saying, oh, I'm sorry you've gone through this because I was not there.
Yes.
So I made it clear that I've gone through DV and I don't want you raising your voice or hitting me. And another thing, I only came with 3. I said, never ever disrespect my parents or never ask me to choose between my children and you. You all have places in my life. So, and I made it clear that if it is, I'm out. So while we are having all these conversations about things I will not tolerate from him.
Yeah.
A conversation came up about one of the posts he saw on my page. He noticed that I'm into public speaking. So we're saying, oh, yeah, I'm into this. I decided to own my story. I realized that what I went through, I didn't just go through it for me, but I want to help other people. So I go and speak, bringing awareness when it comes to DV. I bring awareness. I mean, I even educate others, like, how I started my own business in a foreign land and just empowering other people. So he said, oh, yeah, you're a good public speaker, but I don't like this thing that I watched recently when you were talking about emotional intelligence. What's all this nonsense about gaslighting, love bombing, and manipulation? I said, how is that a problem? Why are you finding that a problem? So I was like, this is not right. So I knew that straight away. It's like he was uncomfortable with this topic because he knew what he was capable of doing.
Right. Yeah. So he was feeling targeted.
He was feeling targeted. That's it. That's it. So on one of the days while we're having lunch, we wanted to print something at a hotel where they had the printing services. So his phone was about to go off. So he's like, oh, Neo, can I use your phone? So I can send the document to you so that when we get there, we can just easily print it. I was like, yeah, no problem. So we got to the reception and the guy said, oh, you can only send it through WhatsApp and then we'll print it. So the guy saw the document. He's like, oh, international number. So none of us responded. The guy printed the document. So as we were about to leave, I decided to take the pictures of the flowers that were at the entrance of the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Tinto, all hell broke loose.
Oh my gosh.
The legions manifested.
Mm-mm.
We got into the car. This guy was shouting, "Why did you take a picture of that guy?" I said, "Which guy are you talking about?" The guy was printing the pictures. The guy was printing my document. I saw you taking a picture of him. I said, "Legio,
What?
I was just taking pictures of, the industry I'm in. Every time I'm in an environment, I see something I can also learn I was just fascinated with the way they've decorated the whole thing."
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
but you should have taken it from this angle, not that angle. Because So I said, knowing you, even if I had taken from that angle,
Though you would have found something.
you would have said I'm showing the guy my bum, because you're already complaining how people are looking at my bum because I've got a big bum. Oh, did you use injection to have this big bum? Because this big bum is not normal. Please don't laugh. Feel sorry for me now.
Part of what's making me laugh, right, is there's no winning in this situation. There's absolutely no winning about any move that you make. Absolutely nothing. Sure.
Yeah, it's all fake. Which hotel uses WhatsApp? I said, I'm thinking, which planet are you from? Is this not a new thing now with most businesses? Most businesses are using WhatsApp. I even went on the hotel's website and showed him how this is a hotel's WhatsApp.
You see, but by this point, you're putting all of this effort to demonstrate to him that you are straight and that you're not sideways. Why when you have all the red flags in the world to leave this man alone? What was still making you trying to do that?
Oh, good. You've not heard anything yet, Tinto, please.
Okay, go on. Wow.
So he said, "Oh, I know. When you get home, this guy will be texting you. You'll be texting each other. I can even make him lose his job." I said, "Now that's being silly. You cannot make someone lose a job that you don't even know whether he's going to text me or not." And the guy was very professional. To be honest, he never took advantage of the fact that he saw my number. He never got in touch with me. But in his mind, because he said, international number, the guy will now start saying, "Also, where do you live?" Or whatever he was thinking. So again, me because of the industry I'm in, every time I travel on holiday or whatever, sometimes or most times I should say, I try to take advantage and go to a place I can learn something or teach them something. So my cousin has also got a connection with the owner of this same hotel where we printed a document. So mind you, I had lunch on our date. The first date we went there, I noticed a few things. So I was talking to my cousin. I'm like, "Oh, I know the owner of this hotel is your friend. Can you ask him if I can spend a day there and I learn something or can also teach something? It's a good hotel, but I noticed something, but I can also." He said, "Oh, he'll be excited." So my cousin straight away called the owner of the hotel and he was excited. It's like, "Oh, let her come. I've even checked her page. I'm excited with what she's doing abroad. It will be nice and an honor to have her." So I told Legio, I said, "Look, I know we are spending almost each and every day of my holiday with you, but tomorrow this is what I'm doing." And he's like, "Oh, really?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay. So the morning, what time are you going? I can go and drop you." I said, "No problem." So the morning before he's coming to drop me, he said, "I'm coming to pick you up, but not to drop you at the hotel where you should be seeing other men.
Oh my God.
I am coming to pick you so you can see where my mom was laid to rest."
And then what?
Can you see the manipulation now? So now, guilt tripping, like now I should be feeling guilty that, I went to whatever to do some business or work instead of now mind you, I only have few days left before I leave home to come back here. So anyway, that happened, and then it was Mother's Day. This guy gave me a ring.
He gave you a range?
In front of my mom, yes, because it was Mother's Day. So he came home. He came home on that day. He's like, oh, happy Mother's Day. He gave some gifts to my mom, and he gave me a gift. And he's like, there's something special there. Right. So I remember, so I opened it, and I could see my mom wanted to laugh, and I also wanted to laugh, but we are trying to hold it together because this didn't make sense.
Aibo, you said it gave you a range. you see, for me, when you say range, I'm thinking about a car.
Yeah?
You said it gave you a range.
No, a ring.
Oh, sorry. A ring. Jeez.
A ring. A ring.
Now I don't know what's worse. Whether the range
a range or the ring.
Yeah. I don't know which is worse. And wait a minute. Yeah. What is this? Okay, I'm asking a really stupid and dumb question. But they are eternity rings, they are friendship rings, they are whatever rings. What ring was this?
Apparently, so I'm also confused in this moment. So I waited until he came because he left after. So when he came, me and my mom were asking, like, what's going on? So my mom just said, ask him, because you don't want to assume anything. So when he came the following day, I said, I thank you for the gifts, and thank you for mom's gifts. Honestly, it really meant something, because no man I've been with has ever given my mom any gift. So this meant something. But this ring that was in my box, ring. I said, committing to what? Oh, remember I said there's no walking away.
Oh, so it's a commitment ring, huh? To say that you're going to be...
So it's funny that even yesterday we were talking about it. My friends from church were like, one of my friends is crazy. She's like, Ruth, I'm broke. Where are those rings? Maybe we should go and sell them. I said, you'll be lucky to get even £5 out of it. Oh, as I said, I was excited still because, just us receiving presents, Mother's Day. I'm coming from a marriage that was abusive, where a husband would tell me, I'm not going to celebrate Mother's Day with you. You're not my mother.
Wow.
Yes. So this really meant something to me. Forget the ring, but the whole whatever happened around it. So anyway, holiday ended. It was a memorable holiday. Chemistry was Pro Max. Honestly, I can't lie to you.
Oh, chemistry was Pro Max, yeah?
Pro Max.
Explain.
Forget the drama, whatever. But I had a good holiday, and I'm even hiding my face as I'm about to share this.
Right.
Even we did it. Huh?
It what? Because when you're talking about being in mature relationships, maybe you guys held hands, because I wasn't sure he was a public display of affection kind of guy. So maybe you did it in terms of holding hands, or maybe you did it in terms
that. There was So remind you, this is a well-known man of God in the city, and we live in a small city, but he wasn't scared to show me anywhere. Oh, so PDA was there. We were going places. We booked rooms. We had sex. That's the one I was saying we did it. I'm hiding. I'm hiding my face. Tinto, please don't laugh like that. I'm going to cry now.
No, you see, but part of the reason why I'm laughing, right, is my little brain is trying to process how this man is evidently verbally abusive.
Yes,
he's got very deeply embedded trust issues. He feels impatient. He feels entitled to run your friendship, whatever it is that you had, the way that he wanted. Because if you could walk away for 18 months, he feels he's in charge. And especially if he knows he can come back and say this, and then he's got the mom card to play. There's every reason not to allow the man to have sex with you. I mean, you wouldn't even let him see you naked on a video call, right?
Yeah.
because of the
Yeah.
vibe you're getting. But now you're having sex with him. What was that about? Did you just happen to be very horny in the moment? Because it's not really adding up, right? It is my impression of women is that they are emotional, and if you start speaking to them nicely during the course of the day, foreplay starts there, right?
Yeah.
And then you end up having
Yeah.
sex. But it doesn't. I don't get the sense of him being kind enough for you to want to do that. So what happened?
Maybe let's just call it stupidity.
I mean, but it can't be, because you said you've grown. You see,
Yeah,
you've
I'm
learned,
grown, but
you've
then
learned from previous
remember,
experiences that, okay, certain things, okay, may have been stupid or not. And I really like the expression you used, which is saying mature relationships, dating when you're
okay,
mature,
so okay,
insinuating that you're capable of making more rational decisions. How,
more
how,
rational
yes,
decisions.
how does stupidity end up in this
now
vocabulary?
you now you sound like my father.
I'm just trying to get some context here. And it's
Okay, so I think
go on.
in that moment, remember, I'm excited and I've been alone all these 4 years. I'm not even thinking like, okay, where is this heading? But in that moment, I'm just having fun. So I'm like, anyway, whatever happens, happens. So I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even have the right answer, but
It's okay to say that you were just turned on. And,
possibly,
you know,
possibly.
because if that is not a possibility, I don't understand what the other reason could be. Because you've already mentioned you hadn't been with someone, it's been 4 years.
Yeah.
You had an itch, and there's a guy who can scratch an itch.
Aye, aye.
You don't strike me as a shy person, but suddenly you're very shy. What's going
Suddenly,
on?
I'm very shy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, should I answer that or should I carry on?
I think I've got the answer. To be fair,
What's the answer? What's the answer? What's
you
the answer?
you were horny, and the guy could deliver the goods, and he delivered the goods, and that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe
it. Yeah,
yeah.
that's all right. The only other question I would have had is,
Yeah.
you were having sex with a married man,
That's another thing.
right?
Yeah.
Tell me
Mm.
how that played on your conscience, or anything. How
Now,
did you feel about that?
I think at this moment, I'm just like, honestly, I felt like, okay, I've heard stories much as I knew about the situation, but anything can happen. The fact that, someone is not officially divorced, they're still married.
Yeah, they are. Yes.
So it did play a big role in my conscience. I cannot lie. It really bothered me.
Before or after the fact?
After,
Okay.
after. But at the same time, I need to be honest and say,
Mm-hmm.
at this moment, I didn't care.
Okay.
Yeah, on reflection, even as I'm talking to you now, even like afterwards, I'm just like, I got to a point whereby I'm just telling myself, you know what? Okay, if it doesn't work out, oh, I'll feel dirty, I'll feel this. But if it works out, then at least we'll remember these moments.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I left my home country coming back to the UK. So the phone calls continued, daily phone calls, like just monitoring me. For me, it felt at first, as I was saying, it felt like, someone is just trying to understand or check on his woman, but it was more of a control thing.
Mm.
Because even as I'm going somewhere, he wants to be on the phone throughout. If I'm going for a meeting, he wants to be just on the phone. He can hear what's happening. So I'm part of this women's organization. Remember, I'm talking about how I go into speaking engagements,
Yeah.
sharing my story.
Yeah.
So these are people who've known me for years. They know my story. And so on the first day back, he refused to get off the phone because I'm like, I'm going into this meeting thing. So when I got back, the ladies are welcoming back. Oh, how was the holiday? How are your parents? What happened? So everyone checks in like the highlights of their week. So it got to my turns, like, what's your highlight of the holiday? And I'm now explaining, well, it was good to be back home with my parents. They are all well. But also something happened. So I shared about this childhood sweetheart reunion, how I was given a commitment ring on Mother's Day. Into the room turned into a party.
Yeah.
Into like a party place. Women danced, women celebrated. The whole session was about me on this day. They're like, oh, finally Neo is in love again after all the years of waiting. She has met a man of God. And people are also saying, oh, but be careful about this man of God. He's on the phone listening.
I mean, you knew he was on the phone, right?
Of course.
So where was your phone? In your hand, in your purse?
No, it was I was just holding it. Because we were on WhatsApp call at this time, but he could hear all the noise, like how we're sharing the check-in, I'm sharing the check-in.
And
so
a courteous thing to do when you have people around is to, hang up any phone conversation, which you could have done, but he asked to stay.
Yeah. So I even said to him, like, oh, I need to get home. Like, I just want to hear how they're going to welcome you when you get in, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, fine. Anyway, he finally got off the phone because at that moment I'm thinking he didn't think I'm going to a women's. Remember, his mind is thinking I'm always sleeping around.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So after he saw this, he got off the phone. He even sent a message. Oh, enjoy the meeting, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, and people are asking, how are you going to handle a long distance? I just said, I don't know, one day at a time. Then everyone is giving advice. Be careful about these men of God. Make sure it doesn't break your heart. So what I found fun in that moment is that 3 of the ladies said in unison, like, oh, no, Neo can handle it. This one is tough. Yeah. So we just laughed.
So in your mind, sorry to bring this up again, but some clarity is good for me here.
Yeah.
When he gave you the commitment ring, was it him saying he's committing to you, or he wants the two of you to commit to each other?
It was him showing that he's committing to me because I didn't say anything. So it was him saying, yes, I'm in this situation. I'm still working on my divorce. It's going to be a while. I'm just trying to figure out the right way to do it. All that nonsense that he said. So it's him now committing to me. Whatever I decide to do, he needs to know that he has committed to me.
Okay. So in response, you mentally decided to commit to him, to be more. I'm basically trying to ask, how did that affect you as an individual? Did it change your behavior in any way? Did it change how you viewed him, thoughts of the future, any of that stuff?
Oh, it did. Honestly, it did change because going into this meeting, I'm sharing how I've met this childhood sweetheart.
So you're now starting to see him as more of your man now.
Yeah, I'm seeing him more as my man now. So even people in my space are now seeing as a man now.
Yay.
So I didn't take it lightly. I was scared. At the same time, I'm excited that, at least someone has committed to me. However, this will turn out. And then there was an issue as well in our difficult conversations. Where are we going to live when we are together?
Who asked that
He's
question?
not willing to give up wherever he is because he's a man of God. He's got a church. He's got his members. I'm also not willing to live here because I've got something I'm doing here. So it's all one of those things like, okay, we'll see. And, wow.
What's that big sigh for?
The story is just unfolding.
Right.
So, you know how people often say they need a holiday after a holiday. So that is me when I visit home.
Yeah.
I always have this thing where I find home very stressful because there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of drama, so many things to sort out. So though I'm spending time with my parents when I'm home, I find that I'm so drained when I come back. I always have this thing like once I come from home, I try to book a holiday probably a month later. And this is something I mentioned to him during our chats when we met. I said, "Oh, I'm planning to travel, but this is a business trip. And, when I return to the UK, I'm going to go on this business trip." And I even said, knowing how you are, Legio, you're going to be thinking, "Oh, who is she going with?" Now I'm empowering this. I mean, it's like I'm encouraging this behavior because I'm taking responsibility of what I said now. I said to him, "If you're happy, you can come with me." Yes, I said it. I said, "If you're happy, you can come with me so that you can have an understanding of how the business works or what I do when I'm out there." So he was excited. Like, "Oh, let's do it. It's going to be like our mini holiday, because when you were here, you were limited to time. You will always go back to your parents' house." And yeah, I said, "But you need to tell my parents that this is what's happening, because I'm not going to be playing hide and seek anymore." So he did go to my parents. He said, "Oh, I'm going to spend some time when she's going on holiday on a business trip." So we did that. Arrival was beautiful. He got at the airport an hour before me. He went to look for flowers. By the time I landed, this guy had this big bouquet of flowers.
You bought the ticket, right?
I did.
Okay. Okay.
So once he said, again, when we met for lunch, remember when my mom said, "Oh, just go and meet him. Probably he's going through a lot."
Yeah.
I'm taking you back a bit.
Yes.
He said to me, "Oh, I'm so happy to meet you. I'm excited. But you need to know, with the nature of my work, I'm not on any salary. So sometimes I have money, sometimes I don't have money. So if we're meeting for lunch, please bear with me. I won't be able to afford whatever." So in my mind, I'm thinking, "Oh, at least he's humble. At least because in the past, I've gone out with guys who'll be like, 'Oh, I forgot my wallet.'"
You see, you're just taking me back to the point where you say you changed and you became, I don't care Neo. And you didn't want, these guys wanted to do the 50-50 stuff. You wanted, somebody who's going to come with the real deal. And here's a man who is not doing 50-50. And is very open. He is literally saying 100% to you. That doesn't sound like a very Neo thing to happen. So why were you so soft with him about that? And yet, other men, you were more like, "No, you can't be coming to me with that energy."
That's what I don't understand, because all this dating I was doing, I was this tough. But then remember, I said I was putting on that act.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be like, "Oh, okay, I don't want any person taking advantage of me. So I'll be asking, 'Have you remembered your wallet? I'm not paying. If you're taking me for a drink or whatever lunch you're paying." So, but I didn't enjoy that. But it was just me putting on an act to say, I don't want any man taking advantage on me or of me. But then with this Legio, I'm finding myself doing so I don't know why, but I was so soft.
Yeah, I was really gonna say. Obviously, we're speaking in hindsight, so you've grown from this experience. But sometimes it's useful just to understand what was going on in that moment, just in case someone is dealing with something similar. So let's take it back to your 20s, right? You got a situation where you fell pregnant, and someone took away your feeling of motherhood and having a family unit together, because he even wanted you to abort, right? So he's taken a piece of you that you said formed how you interacted with relationships going forward, right? So a piece of you was gone in terms of your virginity. A piece of you went in terms of the hopes of having a family. With the second guy, a piece of you was taken in terms of a stable family environment. Of course, you did have the environment, the husband, and you did have the children, but you did not have peace because there was DV involved. So another piece of you has been taken away. And then when you're now in your early 40s, you want to get some of that control back to bring some of those pieces back to yourself. Cool. You may have been successful in doing that. But with this guy, right? He's taken away, in essence, the way it's starting to sound is taken away your freedom to express who you really are. Because if he says, I want you to be on the phone, you're on the phone.
Yeah.
So he's taken away your voice to say, no, I don't want to be on the phone. He's taken away the stance that you were able to hold and not be intimate with someone who was somebody's husband. He's taken that away. Now he's also taken away dollars from your bank account.
Yeah.
There's a lot that is being taken away from you so far in the conversation. And for a person who was able to sit down and reflect once upon a time and have a conversation and say, I'm not going to be this person anymore. Do you think you have an idea why stuff being taken away would happen like this in so many instances?
Like, I like what you've just said. On reflection, you realize sometimes you think you've fully healed when you've not healed.
Yeah.
So, you can go from that moment feeling all powerful, or you go back and become worse.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. I think that's how I can summarize it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah. Yeah. So, let me also mention that while I was finalizing the trip, remember I had already planned this trip before we met. So now he's coming to the picture. I'm trying to communicate my arrival time, departure time, so that we arrive more or less the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Then it happened that my return flight, which was cheaper, would leave 6 hours after his flight.
Yeah.
I mean, after his departure one. That's the one we are leaving now. Yeah. 6 hours later. The guy lost it.
Wow.
Why would I leave my woman behind? What do you want to be doing in this city 6 hours after I've left? You think I don't know? That's when you're going to meet your men, the ones you want to sleep with, because you didn't have a chance to meet with them when you're with me. So I'm like, I'm the one who invited you on this trip. If I didn't want to, I would have just gone. Now you're blaming me. I'm going to spend 2 weeks with you. And you're complaining about just 6 hours after. And I'll even be at the airport because I want to see you off. And then I'll just hang around the airport and wait for my flight. But no, he wasn't having any of it. He was shouting and all that. And I said, oh, you know what? Don't worry. I will change it. I'll get the one that's leaving earlier. So that's what I did. So anyway, they arrived at the airport, the flowers, all romantic. We got to the hotel. Everyone is asking if we're on our honeymoon. It felt like it was a match made in heaven because everyone is looking at us. So the manager is even making sure we are all okay. If we need help, he just wants to make sure we are all comfortable because we now decided we're in this city for 2 weeks. So what I did was I booked 7 nights in one hotel and then 7 nights in a different hotel.
14 nights.
Yes, 14 nights. So when I was planning to go on the business one, it was just 7 because I thought, okay, I can just go for 7, do whatever I need to do, buy the stuff I need to buy and come back. But now I'm spending time with him. Okay, 14 nights.
You're making this worse.
The manager?
You're making this worse for me. because 7 nights cost X amount of money, 14 costs another amount of that money.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit of money invested in this man by now.
Yeah.
Did this bother you at all?
I don't think it really bothered me because I think I was just enjoying the time I'm spending with him.
Yeah.
I was enjoying the time I was spending with him. At the same time, I don't want him to feel like, oh, I don't know. There's a term like my pastor would say sometimes, like, you have like a Mother Teresa syndrome. Yeah, so I kind of thought, like, now I'm thinking, like, I think after all these tough dates, like thinking, oh, this is a no nonsense Neo, that syndrome came back, like, I can do this, whatever. Mind you, I'm nearly 50. So I'm thinking, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it works, it works. But all these experiences are damaging because sometimes we think, okay, we can handle it. That's why I was talking about when it's time to leave, leave.
Yeah.
Remember one of my lessons.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, I could tell that Legio was uncomfortable because I travel a lot. So I'm used to all this, like, warm welcome, make sure you guys are okay, blah, 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 blah. But with him, it's like, why are these people so caring, so nice? So on the first night, unfortunately, we had drunkards knocking on our door. I think it was just like they missed their own door.
Right.
Because I remember this is me on a long flight than him. So I was so tired, but I could hear afterwards the people were like, oh, sorry, wrong door. So then they went. The way this guy got up and he was so angry. You would think we are in World War whatever.
It's like your people have come looking for you.
Yes.
How long was this now into your whatever you have from the time you met up until now? How long had that been? From the time that he first reached out on Facebook to this holiday?
This is the third month now.
All of this is in 3 months.
Yes.
Jeez. Wow.
I have suffered.
Okay.
So the way this guy got angry, he called the reception. My wife can't sleep. I'm the wife now. My wife can't sleep. He went on and on. I was so tired. I was like, can you just be quiet? I didn't say anything in my sleep. I'm just like, oh God, he overreacted. So in the morning, it's like, oh, babe, why did you book this particular hotel?
Right.
So I said, oh, because the reviews were great. It's beautiful. It's closer to the places where I want to get the business stuff. Later, I realized that it was his insecurities that made him uncomfortable. Because remember, we had this warm welcome. And in his mind, he's like, oh, these guys are after me.
Mm-hmm.
And when they were complimenting us, they were not saying, oh, your wife is beautiful. They were saying, you guys look great as a couple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then one morning we were at a restaurant having breakfast. The guy just said, look at me. I'm like, huh? He said, look at me. Why are you looking at another man? I can't stand this. You need to respect me.
Goodness.
So at this point, I couldn't handle it. I just left the restaurant. I went to the room. So he came back. Oh, I noticed how you were trying to look at that guy. You can't be looking at another man when I'm there. I'm like, which guy? I had no idea which guy I was looking at. So now, this is the funny part. Remember, before we left the home country for this holiday, we had sex.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So when we are now going for this holiday, he said, Neo, I've tried several times to ask you if we can do an investment together, which is for Legio and Neo. You've been refusing. So I believe when you came home and we had sex, you are pregnant.
What?
Yes. Because now that you've refused to have an investment with me, the only thing I want with you now is a child. I want you to have my child.
Wait a minute. I'm confused. So he says
Why are you confused?
He says you refused to have an investment with me because you're pregnant. That's what he thought.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that he knows that...
Oh, no, sorry, I said that again. Sorry, I missed that. What did you say?
It sounds to me like what he said was, I got the feeling that you refused to have a Legio and Neo investment with me because you are pregnant.
No.
Okay, so help me understand. That's what I'm saying. I'm confused.
Okay. Remember, he wanted me to invest something with him,
Yes.
Legio and Neo investment,
Yes.
something that has our name. So I
Yes.
said, I cannot do anything with you because you're still married.
Yes.
So what happens when you go through divorce? Is my property going to be affected in your arrangements? Because by this time, the wife has made it clear that they want to go 50-50. Whatever he has, she wants to take a big chunk out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's now saying, because I refused that, believing that he's going to be careless and allow his wife to take part of our investment in divorce settlement.
Okay. Right.
You get it? So
Yeah, I
now
get it. Yeah.
I need to just give him a child. That way we have something together. So I said, Legio, this is not a joke. We are talking about a life here. We are talking about a life, and you're talking about us having a child as if what? And at this point, I'm thinking, I live here, you live there. If I have a child, I'll end up raising another child on my own.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I'm just laughing because I knew nothing will happen anyway because I'm already on menopause.
Okay.
So he's arguing with my body. Oh, you can't be on menopause. You're so young. I said, I'm on
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
So he now said, oh, we need to do a pregnancy test. Like when we're on holiday, we need to do a pregnancy test. So I said, okay, no problem.
Wait, so this guy is arguing with you and saying you can't be on menopause. He's telling you can't be on menopause.
No, he's telling me I can't be on menopause.
So and he says, he says, let me do my things and then we'll test the pregnancy kit.
No, actually, the pregnancy kit was bought before because he said, "Oh, when we are going on holiday, where we are going to meet, I need to have the pregnancy ready so we can do it together. We can do the test together." Yeah, we can only laugh now. Anyway,
and this was so that he can test whether you were pregnant before you had sex or after you had sex.
No, I think I'm confusing you. Remember the sex?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Clearer because I'm trying to make sense of why a man would bring a pregnancy test kit on holiday.
No, because remember we already had sex when I was in my home country.
So you wanted to check whether you're pregnant from that sex?
Yes.
Okay.
So we need to do it together when you're on holiday so that now we know that after leaving the holiday, I'm carrying his child.
Yeah, okay.
So I took the kit and then one morning, I think it was a day of a night. No, we didn't do it on the drama because remember there was a drama about people knocking at the door.
Yeah.
So it was another morning because like, oh, the best tests are done early in the morning with your first wee, blah, 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 blah. So the guy didn't sleep. He's walking up and down the room. Shakara basotori.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know whether this is going to be a boy or a girl. I said, just sleep. In my head, I'm thinking, you're just wasting your sleep. Just sleep and enjoy the night because there's no pregnancy here. So I couldn't say anything because I didn't want to make him angry.
Yeah.
So anyway, in the morning we did the test. It was negative. The guy was so sad.
Does he have children of his own?
Yeah, he has 2 children.
2, okay.
Yeah, he has 2 children. But the assignment was Neo baby, having a baby with Neo.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, whether it was for sacrifices, whatever, God knows.
You know, hey, Neo, there is so much that is happening in this story, and I'm looking at our time. I cannot do this as a one part. So, this is the first time we're going to do this in 2025, and we haven't done this in a long time, really. We're going to wrap this up now. Sorry, feelers and those listening, but I think it's important that we get as much out of the story as we can.
That's it, yeah.
Thank you for sharing this far. If you guys want to continue listening to this story, make sure you come on, get me some coffees, and we'll have part 2 of Neo's incredible story in the next episode. Catch you next week.
Tell me what you're feeling.
Satizwa ndarurwa ini handichageza ini.
Tell me what you're feeling. Now that it's over.
Satizwa ndarurwa ini handichageza ini.
Let me talk about my feelings. Let me talk about my feelings, yeah.
Rudo imoto runoto kuchidziro amai.
Kuchidziro amai. Love is a fire.
Rudo imoto runoto kuchidziro amai.